Welcome to Deep Dive, the novel after show. This is the podcast where we uncover the hidden layers, unravel the twists, and explore the worlds within words of the novels of, well, me, J. Kevin Tomlinson. Whether you've just finished the book or you're curious about what's inside, spoilers and all, you're in the right place. Let's dive in.
Welcome to another deep dive. This time, we're exploring The Girl in the Mayan Tomb. I have to say, just reading the excerpts, it looks like we're in for a wild ride.
It certainly does. An intriguing journey, really, blending real-world archaeology, mythology, with a captivating fictional narrative. What really got me, though, was the Orion correlation theory as a starting point.
Right. It's not every day you hear about a lost Mayan city discovered through Google Maps of all things. So how does this theory play into the story?
Well, the story begins with a young boy, Henry Egan, fascinated by the Orion correlation theory. The series suggests that, ancient civilizations like the Egyptians and potentially the Mayans, they aligned their structures with Orion's belt, sharing a sophisticated understanding of astronomy and maybe, just maybe, a common focus on this constellation.
So Henry uses this theory, and get this, Google Maps, to actually locate a lost Mayan city called Chapal-Ikikka, which, by the way, translates to the place where the jaguar sun drinks. That already sounds mysterious.
It does, doesn't it? And within this lost city, they find a sealed tomb. But here's the catch. The skeletal remains. They're not an ancient Mayan, but a modern woman, Maggie Hamilton, a talented musician who vanished 5 years prior.
Okay, hold on. A missing musician in designer clothes found in a sealed Mayan tomb. That's quite a jump from Google Maps and constellations. What do we know about Maggie? Why would she be in that tomb?
That's the central mystery, isn't it? The story introduces us to her former partner, Leonard DeFranco. He reveals Maggie became, obsessed with Mayan art and lore, particularly with a figure known as Apuch.
Apuch, I remember that name. Pretty significant in Mayan mythology, right?
Yes, Apuch is the Mayan god of death, a fearsome deity associated with the underworld. And the story, it cleverly intertwines this mythological figure with a potentially tangible threat, blurring the lines between myth and reality.
Okay, now it's starting to sound like one of those conspiracy thrillers. So we've got a lost city, a missing musician, and a mysterious Mayan god of death. What kind of clues are there? How do these pieces fit together?
Well, the scene at the tomb is a puzzle itself. There's a deserted campsite, looks like it was used by guerrillas, spent AK-47 cartridges, hinting at a violent confrontation, and a cryptic message left behind by Maggie, warning of a dangerous artifact, called Apuch.
So Apuch is more than just a mythological figure. Sounds like it could be a real object, and a dangerous one at that. No wonder she disappeared. What happens next? Does someone go looking for her?
Of course. Two intriguing characters enter the picture, Dr. John Graham, an archaeologist, and Dr. Dan Kotler, an FBI consultant. They team up to investigate the site and unravel the mysteries surrounding Maggie's disappearance and this artifact, this Apuch.
A classic dynamic duo, the academic and the man of action. Where does their investigation take them?
Their search for answers takes them deeper into Maggie's past. They speak with Mick Scalera, a music producer who works with Maggie. He reveals a mysterious man tried to buy all of Maggie's Mayan artifacts, specifically mentioning an Apuch statue that she refused to sell.
Okay, so someone wanted this Apuch thing badly. Do we know anything about this buyer or why they were so interested in it?
That's what Kotler and Graham are trying to figure out. They eventually reach the site of Chapal-Ikikka, but they find it's guarded by a private security team led by a man simply known as Sarge. This suggests the site, and whatever it holds, potentially Apuch, is valuable, worth protecting.
And did they find anything else at the site, aside from the security team, I mean?
During their exploration of the city, they uncover a startling fact. The sealed tomb, where Maggie was found, wasn't dedicated to Viracocha, an Incan god, as they initially thought. Instead, it was dedicated to Apuch.
Wait, so they thought it was one god's tomb, but it turns out to be the god of death's tomb. That changes things, doesn't it?
Absolutely. This misidentification, it suggests a deliberate attempt to conceal its true nature, its purpose, further deepening the mystery.
Okay, so now we've got Maggie's cryptic message about the dangerous Apuch, and this tomb dedicated to the same figure. It's all starting to line up in a slightly creepy way. What happens when they get inside the tomb?
Inside the tomb, Kotler discovers Maggie's skeletal remains, confirming her fate. But there's more. Her remains are clutching a small carving, a jaguar sun, the same symbol that echoes the city's name, the place where the jaguar sun drinks.
Oh, that's giving me goosebumps. It sounds like she was trying to tell him something, even in death. Is there anything else in the tomb? Something that might help explain what happened to her?
There's a tunnel leading deeper into the tomb, but it's disabled, sealed shut on purpose. Whatever lies beyond that passage, it's meant to remain hidden.
Heck, it's meant a cliffhanger. Did they get that tunnel open?
Well, before they can even try, things take a turn. Agent Denzel, who's been working with Kotler, contacts the FBI, trying to get more information about Apuch, and he learns it might be connected to a potential weapon of mass destruction.
Hold on. So now we're not just talking about a missing musician and a mysterious artifact. We're talking about something that could be a global threat.
Exactly. And right at that moment, a heavily armed group arrives at Shapal-ik-Ka. These aren't the guerrillas from before, these are mercenaries, and they quickly overpower Sarge's security team, taking Kotler and Graham hostage.
Oh, no, I have a bad feeling about this. Who are these mercenaries working for? What do they want?
They're working for a wealthy, mysterious figure named Raymond Masters. And his demands are simple. He wants Kotler and Graham to open the sealed tomb of Apuch.
We're back, ready to dive deeper into the girl in the Mayan tomb. Last time, Kotler and Graham were forced to open the sealed tomb of Apuch by those mercenaries working for the mysterious Raymond Masters. Did I get that right?
You did, a perfect summary. A real cliffhanger, too. And the stakes are incredibly high, with that potential weapon of mass destruction looming over everything.
Absolutely. So let's not waste any time. What happens next? Does that booby-trapped tomb ever get opened?
It does. And it leads to a series of, well, even more intense and revealing events. While Kotler and Graham are forced to navigate the dangers within the tomb, Agent Denzel and a team from the CDC, they're racing to find a way in from the outside, hoping to rescue them and contain whatever threat Apuch might pose.
So it's like a two-pronged effort, literally and figuratively. What kind of challenges do they face?
Well, Denzel's team encounters a complex network of underground cenotes and caverns. Adds a whole new layer of difficulty and danger to their mission. Imagine trying to navigate a labyrinth in the dark, knowing time is of the essence, and deadly virus might be on the loose.
Cenotes, are those like underground rivers or something?
Essentially, yes. Sinkholes or caves that have exposed groundwater underneath. They were often considered sacred by the Mayans, adding another layer of symbolic significance to the story.
Wow, that's fascinating. So while Denzel and his team are dealing with this underground maze, what's happening inside the tomb?
Kotler and Graham, they managed to disarm the booby traps, revealing the entrance to a hidden chamber. But during the chaos, they get separated. Graham ends up back at the campsite in a delirious state, while Kotler slips away, deeper into the tomb.
Okay, so the dynamic duo is split up. One's potentially ill, and the other is alone in a hidden chamber of a tomb dedicated to the god of death. This is getting intense. What does Kotler find in that hidden chamber?
He finds more than just ancient relics. He uncovers the truth about Apuch. It's not an object, as they initially believed. It's a deadly virus. One that, well, it essentially cremates its victims from the inside out.
Hold on, a virus? That's even worse than a weapon, like something out of a pandemic movie. What kind of virus is it? Is it contagious? How does it spread?
The story doesn't go into those specifics, but it emphasizes the deadliness and the fear associated with this virus. A virus hidden within an ancient tomb, seemingly forgotten by time, suddenly resurfacing in the modern world. It makes you wonder what else might be lurking out there, unknown to us.
Right, like opening Pandora's box. So what happens with Graham? Does anyone figure out what's wrong with him?
Well, a new character enters the story, Liz Ludlam, a forensic specialist. She's worked with Kotler before, and she joins Denzel's team, bringing her expertise in biochemistry, which could be vital in understanding, the nature of Apuch.
It's like assembling a specialized task force, each member with a unique set of skills to solve this puzzle.
Yes, exactly. And as Liz examines Graham, she suspects he might be showing early symptoms of exposure to Apuch.
Oh no, that means the virus is already out in the open. What does this mean for Kotler, trapped down there with who knows how many ancient, potentially virus-ridden artifacts?
His situation becomes even more precarious. As he explores the tomb further, seeking answers about Apuch and a way out, he discovers something else. Ancient texts, hidden chambers that reveal the true nature of Apuch and its role in the mysterious Mayan ceremony, called the Kilichkayak.
Okay, another new term. What is this Kilichkayak ceremony? Is it some kind of death ritual?
More than just a death ritual. It's a ceremony meant to invoke the Mayan supreme god, Junab Kuj. And Apuch, the virus, it isn't a weapon, but a key component of this ritual.
Whoa, so the virus is like a sacred element in a ceremony to call upon a god. That's a whole new level of complexity. Does it say what the purpose of the ceremony is? Why would they want to invoke this god?
The story keeps those specifics, well, shrouded in mystery, at least for now. But it's this revelation, the true purpose of Apuch, that becomes central to the story moving forward.
So it's not just a deadly virus, it's a link to the divine. That's fascinating and terrifying all at the same time. What happens next? Do Kotler and Denzel's team ever, connect?
Their paths converge in a dramatic way. As Kotler continues his exploration of the tomb, trying to understand this Kiliach-Gog ceremony and potentially find a way to stop Masters, the mercenaries launch another attack on Sarge's team. This time, breaking through and escaping with a sample of Apuch.
Oh no, that doesn't sound good. Does anyone try to stop them?
Denzel and his team, along with Liz, they pursue the mercenaries into the jungle, while Kotler, having discovered a hidden passage leading out of the tomb, emerges just in time to join the chase.
Okay, so now it's a full-blown jungle pursuit, everyone converging in this race against time. What happens during the chase?
The chase is filled with action, tension, but it ultimately leads to a standoff between Denzel's team, aided by Kotler, and Masters' mercenaries. During the standoff, Masters reveals his true intentions, and they are, well, far more bizarre and terrifying than anyone could have imagined.
Wait, what? He's not just trying to steal a deadly virus, he has something else in mind. What could be more terrifying than a potential pandemic?
Masters confesses that he wasn't planning to use Apuch as a weapon at all. He intended to use it in the Kiliach-Gog ceremony, believing it would grant him immortality and godlike powers. He actually managed to perform part of the ceremony before being captured, even drinking a potion made with Apuch.
What? Immortality? Godlike powers? That's insane. Did it work? Did he become some kind of immortal god king?
That's the question hanging over everyone as Part 2 concludes. With Masters captured, but potentially transformed by the ritual, and everyone who's come into contact with Apuch facing an unknown fate, the stakes couldn't be higher. What are your thoughts on all of this so far? Is there anything that particularly stands out to you?
I'm speechless. This whole thing has gone from a mysterious disappearance to a potential global pandemic to a quest for immortality. It's like layers upon layers of intrigue and danger. I'm dying to know what happens next. Does the CDC find a cure? Does Masters actually gain those powers?
Those are the questions we'll be exploring in Part 3. The story takes some unexpected turns, with twists and revelations that will leave you questioning everything you've heard so far. Join us as we unravel the final threads of this thrilling and thought-provoking mystery.
Welcome back to our deep dive into the girl in the Mayan tomb. If you're just joining us, well, you might want to catch up on the first two parts because things have gotten pretty intense. We've got a deadly virus, a quest for immortality, and a whole lot of questions still hanging in the balance.
We do indeed. The story's really escalated, and now we're facing some, well, potentially world-altering consequences. Everyone who came into contact with Apuch is under quarantine. Kotler, Denzel, even Masters, who might actually be on the verge of achieving immortality through that bizarre ritual.
Right. It's like we're waiting for a verdict. Will the CDC find a cure in time? And what about Masters? Did that potion actually grant him any powers? I need answers.
Well, the story doesn't disappoint. It delivers those answers, but maybe not in the way you'd expect. Let's start with Masters. It turns out that potion he drank as part of the Kiliach-Gog ceremony, it had a very real effect. He's completely immune to Apuch.
Whoa, so the immortality thing might not be that far-fetched after all. But if he's immune, does that mean everyone else is, doomed?
Not necessarily. Kotler, while he was trapped in the tomb, he theorized that Masters might have stumbled upon an antidote to the virus while researching the ceremony. Remember, the Mayans, they had a deep understanding of medicine, the natural world. It's possible they knew how to manipulate the virus for both harmful and beneficial purposes.
So there's a chance they had a cure all along. I guess that makes sense. If they were using the virus in a ritual to invoke a god, they probably wouldn't want to, kill themselves in the process.
Exactly. And thankfully, Kotler's theory proves to be correct. The CDC, they're able to synthesize an antidote using Masters' blood. Risky move, but it pays off. Everyone exposed to Apuch is cured.
Talk about a close call. Seems like everything worked out in the end. Masters is caught, everyone's cured, the world's safe from a deadly Mayan virus. Case closed, right?
Not quite. Remember that loose end about someone else being in the tomb before Kotler and Masters? The story circles back to that, and it turns out that mysterious individual was Gail McCarthy.
Wait, Gail McCarthy? The billionaire philanthropist, what was she doing in a Mayan tomb?
The FBI investigates her involvement, and it turns out she was obsessed with the Keely-Hitchcock ceremony as well. But her motivation, it wasn't immortality or power. She believed the ceremony could bring her deceased grandfather back to life.
Wow, talk about a personal mission. So she was trying to use this ancient ritual for, like, a resurrection. That's both heartbreaking and a little bit crazy. Did she actually manage to, perform any part of the ceremony?
She had been studying the same texts as masters, trying to decipher the secrets of the Keely-Hitchcock. She even had help from a rogue archaeologist who guided her through the tomb. But thankfully, the FBI caught her and her accomplice before she could get too far.
Well, that's a relief. I can understand her motivation, but messing with ancient rituals for personal gain never seems to end well, in these kinds of stories. So with Gail and her accomplice apprehended, the case is officially closed. All the loose ends tied up.
Yes. In terms of the plot, the immediate threat is neutralized, all the characters are accounted for, but the story leaves us with a question, a kind of intellectual echo of the events that unfolded.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What's the question?
What does the discovery of Apuch and the Keely-Hitchcock ceremony, what does it tell us about our understanding of Mayan culture?
That's a great question. I mean, we usually think of the Mayans for their impressive cities, their sophisticated calendar system, their art, their architecture. But this story throws a whole new element into the mix. A deadly virus tied to a ritual for invoking a god.
Exactly. It challenges us to re-examine our assumptions about the Mayans, their relationship with life and death, their beliefs about the divine. Maybe their worldview was far more complex than we ever imagined.
It certainly seems that way. This whole story is like a window into a hidden world, a world where ancient rituals and modern science collide. Makes you wonder what other secrets are still out there, just waiting to be uncovered.
That's the beauty of archaeology and exploration, isn't it? It's not just about finding artifacts, it's about uncovering stories, understanding different perspectives, expanding our view of the world and ourselves.
Well said. And that brings us to the end of our deep dive into The Girl in the Mayan Tomb. We've covered a lot of ground today, from lost cities and deadly viruses to ancient rituals and the quest for immortality. I hope you enjoyed this journey as much as we did.
It's been a fascinating exploration, full of twists and turns. I always find it intriguing how fiction can illuminate, real-world issues, spark curiosity about different cultures' beliefs.
Me too. And it's a great reminder that there's always more to learn, more to explore, more to discover. So until next time, keep diving deep.
Thanks for tuning in to Deep Dive, the Novel After Show. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to share it with your fellow book lovers and leave us a review. And visit kevintomlinson.com/books to dive into your next adventure.